Aerial lease.
Even under the best of circumstances, it can be hard to tell the difference between challenging behaviors and emotions that are consistent with typical child development and those that are cause for concern, more than just a phase, so to speak. Conditions like ADHD, depression, and anxiety do occur during childhood. A child may benefit from a mental health evaluation if they have the following behaviors. Frequent tantrums, are irritable most of the time, talk obsessively about their fears or worries, complain about frequent stomach aches or headaches with no known medical cause. They sleep too much or too little and have frequent nightmares. They struggle to keep or make friends, and they struggle in school or suddenly experience a drastic drop in grades. If a child's questionable behavior persists for several weeks and interferes with their functioning at school or home, the behavior is unsafe, or if the child speaks of harm to self or others, seek immediate help.
For questions or more resources, text 258-1029.
Thursday morning here on KSJE, and it's time to check in with Jason Kelcoat from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation to see what the markets have been doing. Jason, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good, thanks. Thanks for being here. And what's been going on? We've had a little bit of a rally last couple of days, haven't we?
The S&P 500 was up yesterday for the fourth straight day. That's a 3% gain year to date.
Okay.
It has only been 10 days.
Right, but that's still something,
It's
I guess.
still positive, yeah. We're doing well to start the year off. More impressively, though, this is the longest daily winning streak it's had in 4 months. So we've had this period of market volatility to end the year.
Right.
This is a positive stretch for the S&P, which is a good thing. It is up about 10% from that 20-month low that it hit on Christmas Eve. Everybody remembers, Christmas Eve was a pretty bad day for the markets in general.
Yes. Right.
So we're up 10% from there.
Okay. All right.
And starting the year off positive with the markets. So I kind of wanted to touch on maybe what the driving force is behind that right now.
Right. And we do have the chart of the Dow Jones, right? So I can show that because I can probably see pretty easily where that drop happened.
Yeah.
Right?
You definitely can see it. It's right
there it is. Yeah. There you go. So. But as you can see, it's still below where it was last year at this time, and so that's what we're looking at.
Yep, but, we're climbing out of that drop right now. There's positive stuff going on, though. We have the jobs report was just released. It's positive again. So it just goes to confirm that the U.S. economy is strong right now.
Sure.
And then one of the other big things that happened was the Fed released their minutes this week from the meeting in December. That was the last rate hike of the year. If you'll remember, we did have 4 rate hikes throughout the year last year. And it did show that they were kind of split between doing that final rate hike in December. There were some members that felt that because inflation is in check, if you recall, the Fed uses interest rates to control inflation.
Right.
Inflation is doing fine. It's right around 2%. It's right around where it's supposed to be. They didn't think that they necessarily needed to raise the rates again. They had a press conference and went on to say that they think that there will be some gradual rate hikes in the future, but that there's no set plan, and that their frontier really for 2019 has gone from 4, a few months ago we were talking about another 4 rate hikes.
Right.
They've cut it to 2. So I think the market reacted positively to that as well. It's not quite as an aggressive stance, and they have said that there's no preset course, that it'll be data driven. So it's good to know that the Fed's not just pointing their nose and saying, this is the
we're raising rates.
Going. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But they've said that all along, haven't they? That they're going to take a lot into consideration of what's going on in the entire economy, and that all goes into play when they make these decisions. But I guess what they're saying is maybe future rate hikes may not be that 0.25. It could be even smaller than that if they're concerned, I suppose, right?
Yep.
I mean, they can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. They've got, they've got some stuff, some concerns that they have. They've got, the global growth is kind of slowing. We're not really sure where that's going. Market volatility is obviously a factor here.
Right.
And then the trade tensions are one of the other main things that are staying in the headlines. Obviously.
And are things slowing down in China these days? Is that what we're seeing, or is it hard to tell?
It's kind of hard to tell right now. We've had 3 days of talks with China that just ended. The talks really focused on China's pledge to purchase from the U.S. They pledged to purchase a number of agricultural, energy, manufacturing, and other products and services. We saw that in one big purchase at the end of last year. They purchased a bunch of soybeans. But other than that, they really haven't come through on that. The biggest problem that a lot of people aren't really talking about, we're talking about the trade, but another big problem that's on there is the intellectual property theft.
That's been going on for years.
It has, and so they'll take United States company technology open up a similar company in China and trade it on the China exchange.
Right.
And so we're really trying to figure out a way for them to enforce the terms of this agreement in that sense as well. It's a lot easier to see it with the trade because you can see the hard numbers.
Sure.
But this type of stuff is going to be a lot harder to monitor.
And that, as you said, impacts everything from high-tech equipment to even knockoff NFL sweatshirts
Everything.
and stuff, and
Yep.
music and DVDs and all that stuff.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So I think that's going to be something to watch for. Again, we've got this March 2nd deadline where President Trump has said that he will raise tariffs from 10% to 25%
Right.
on about 200 billion of Chinese imports. So we need to get something.
The clock is ticking.
The clock is definitely ticking. So,
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yep, that'll stay in the news.
And he can't shut down that government, so
That's
if he
exactly-
doesn't get what he would like to get. So we'll see how that
exactly right.
goes.
That's
Okay.
exactly right.
It's not a political show, but that's where we are today. And you want to talk about the markets?
Sure.
The other markets too?
Yep.
S&P 500, what's that doing?
So S&P, we're up a little bit. We're up from where we fell. It looks
Same
like,
time of year, right?
Right,
End of
same
December,
time of
right?
year,
I mean, as
same
the
time of
other
year.
markets that we had.
Yep.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
But still lower than we were last January.
Still
right?
lower than we were last year, but up 3% year to date.
Okay.
So-
See, building back up. And then NASDAQ is that tech-heavy stock index,
That's exactly right.
and
Again,
that's coming back up too.
Yep, you can see the big drop there. Apple has really led some of the rebound in that, but Apple's the one that also led the drop.
Right.
It's such a big company that it really does affect the index. So
But we saw a lot of warnings, I guess, earnings warnings from Apple, and what was it, Samsung came a few days later. So a lot of these big tech companies are kind of warning their investors
they
that
really are.
this is going to be a rougher quarter.
Yep, I think the competition with the cell phones and other little technologies like that is really amping up, and I think these companies' forecasted earnings are not quite hitting the mark.
Right. So we'll see. Interesting. Okay. Very good. Well, Jason, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott.
Always good to have you here. That is Jason Calcote from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. He's here on Thursdays with me on KSJE Farmington.